That thing is really sounding Subaru-y now.
Ooh. Yeah, what's that?
No.
Whoa, that's impressive it had any compression at all.
So here we are back with the 2JZ engine out of the 46 Wagon. We've got the head back from the machine shop. TASH Auto Inc. from our boy Vasily hooked us up. They did the block and the heads. He machined the head, machined the block, inserted our Manley pistons and rods that Manley sent us, so big shout out to Manley for doing that. So I'm just gonna start putting the head together, putting all the valves in it. We got some Brian Crowder valve springs, retainers. We got all our ARP head studs. We've already got the ARP mains and rods in the short block. So follow along for lapping some valves in, putting some springs in, and putting this 2J together.
We got 2JZ engine from FDF race shop to do machining on it. I just finished machining cylinders. Now I'm gonna deck the block and move it to the honing machine.
So I've already gone ahead and lapped the exhaust valves. So what I do is I take a valve lapping compound like so, and then I put a little bit across the seat of the valve, and then I'll insert the valve into here, use my little cup. This will suction to the valve, and then I'll basically spin this back and forth, raising it in and out. And what that does is, as you can see here, a nice line around the seat of where the valve meets the seat. You can just see how the contact of the valve meets the seat. So here's an intake one I haven't done yet. You can see there's no marks on it. What this does is just ensures that I have a nice visual, that I know this valve is equally seated around the seat and all the way around the valve. This will detect if you have a bent valve, if the seat's head around, valve's head around, any deficiencies like that. So I've gone and done all of the exhausts. All of them look perfect. I have a really good, nice and seating area around each valve, so I'm ready to go ahead and start putting the exhaust valves in. Look at the valve spring seats, just nicely soaked in oil. So I'm going to put each one of these into their spot. Then I'm going to put the valve seals on, and then I will go around and put each valve in afterwards. And before doing this, I already went through all the valves, checked all the guides, make sure I've got no excessive play, and all the valves are nicely centered up and down. And even before tearing it down, we checked everything to make sure that we didn't have any leaks through the valves, and we only saw, I think I noted it there, a couple of valves where basically the valve seals were the only leak. The seat was sealing perfect, so that's why I'm not too worried about just lapping them in and not cutting the seats and the valves, because we already had a really good seal. Just a nice visual to have the lapping done for me to make sure I know that all the valves are going to seat. So I'm just putting a little bit of oil on each one of the guides before I press on the valve seals with my handy dandy valve seal installer tool. And beautiful. So it's nice, it just has a centering stud, so that goes into the valve guide, and then that pushes the guide on. Don't need to hammer it on, just you'll feel a nice click when it goes on. I feel like we're on, what was that, horsepower TV? Used to assemble the big carbureted big block. Yeah, let's go. Now the most tedious part of this entire operation. We take our valve, slide it in the hole. You want to make sure it is nice and free. There's no resistance to it going up and down. If you have resistance in it, there's a problem. Don't go any further. We'll take one valve spring. These are the Brian Crowder dual valve springs. Make sure you have the piece underneath the valve. If you put the valve spring right on the aluminum head, it's not going to go well. We have our retainer. Now I was just doing some Subaru heads with these, so I might need to adjust them. So I just adjust it so that it pushes the valve spring down enough that I can slide in a couple of the keepers. Probably the most time-consuming part. You're going to watch me and I'm not going to be able to get this for 5 minutes because you're filming it. Why is this thing magnetized?
Okay, so yesterday we just started putting our 2J back together. It's sitting on our table because you probably noticed we have engines out of literally every vehicle that we own. So I'm stuck with the table, but we got the oil pan on. We're starting to put the timing stuff on. We did our valve adjustment last week. Moved some buckets of shims around. We're gonna get the manifolds on it today, try to get this thing ready to put in the chassis because Mike finished painting it yesterday. So we're ready to get this thing hooked up. Haltech is supposed to be sending all their stuff too, so we're gonna get all the wiring harness on this, get the Haltech goodies all fitted up to this engine, and I'm really looking forward to getting this thing in the car. So we're gonna be super busy because by today's Thursday, by tomorrow we gotta have this thing put back together. Josiah's engine has to be put back together. We're supposed to be testing with Josiah's engine on Monday. This thing's supposed to be testing next week. It's gonna be crazy. So we got a lot of work to do. So let's get back to putting this thing together.
We're back in the race shop, the FDF race shop with my baby, the Wagon. If you've been staying tuned, we fully refreshed this thing. I rocker guarded the whole underbody bed liner, like a Raptor liner, and then I did a full steelet on the inside of the interior, getting this thing fully prepped and jammed, ready to go. And on that note, this is our wiring harness. This is our engine harness, actually, that kind of gets tied into our chassis harness. And if you've gotten the drill from what the Madman Joel's been doing on all the customer Corvettes in Josiah's car here, we were due for a big upgrade. And I am so stoked to have the one, the only Haltech Performance on board with fully revamping this Wagon. On a big note, we got all this stuff, which works. There's nothing wrong with this stuff. We're big on doing better. So this is the original switch panel, just classic, you know, rocker switches. This is our LS GM truck coil packs that ran our coils and had a broken wire. So you know what, we're getting rid of all of this into the pile. What else do we have? This was our dash display. It was an Amazon tablet that did not work too hot anymore, so we just tossed that in the pile, and we'll go through the host of new good stuff. So first on the docket, in this sick little like JanSport high school bag, I can throw it on my shoulder, you know, go for a cruise. This is our fully terminated 2JZ engine harness. So Haltech offers this as a fully made kit that plugs right into their ECU. And in terms of ECU, we went with one of their newest, baddest products. That's the Dash, the Nexus R3. So what's sick about this ECU? One, it's beautiful. Two, it has a built-in PDM. So we have two outputs that we can power the engine harness off of this. And it's a plug-and-play affair for our bolt-on engine harness. So we got a full motorsports wiring harness for the engine with our Nexus R3 ECU. This is gonna really change the game, especially with how Joel does all of this fancy wiring. We're gonna be able to set up so many parameters to help save it from me and Josiah from wrecking it, which is what I'm really good at, just wrecking stuff. So this is gonna help with that, getting rid of our little switch panel, and we're going with an even littler switch panel, but full PDM, all CAN bus. I'm stoked. I can't even bring the words to express how thankful I am to have so many awesome people on board. And to fix our coil packs, we have Haltech's bolt-in R35 coil pack conversion. So we're gonna get rid of all of those GMLS coil packs and extended spark plug wires, and now we have a direct coil on plug, as well as a host of sensors. We got oil temp, oil pressure, water temp, water pressure. They have that multi-sensor sensor. We got NOx sensors going on. We do have, I don't know if in the next couple weeks I'm gonna get this rolling, but another sick JanSport bag. We got the Bosch drive-by-wire pedal assembly, as well as a drive-by-wire throttle. So eventually we're gonna redo the brake system a little bit on it and add in drive-by-wire throttle, which is gonna be super sick. But I just thought I'd go over a couple of the sweet new features that we're tossing on the wagon to get rid of all the old jank stuff. And obviously one of the coolest, like PDMs are cool, standalones are cool, motorsport wiring harness also cool. It's all super cool stuff. But obviously the creme de la creme is our new dash display, which I've been waiting for. Joel did a nice series on the Corvette that we have over there. Check this hot rod. So now we have a real dash. This is going to be a whole new version of the wagon, and a little once over the body panels. We're going to throw the engine back in today. They're jamming on getting that other Corvette back together, and I'm here jamming putting the wagon back together. So other than that, that's a wrap. We have an update on the wagon. As you can see, we did the engine rebuild, went over a couple new Haltech goodies. And if you follow me on Instagram and the shop page, you can see that I've been jamming on this thing. Started this week, it wasn't even a roller, it was still pretty much a bare shell. What I did was I cleaned up everything, put bed liner underneath the chassis just because it was 10 years of ripping and tearing.
The ripping and the tearing.
I was like, I want to pull this thing apart. The white was disgusting too. I feel that this car is a testament to myself, FDF, our eye for detail and attention to detail and craftsmanship. I wanted this to reflect that, and I didn't feel it was really reflecting it. It's a great car. Drew did an awesome job of it. 10 years of outdated parts. So we did the first revamp where we did a bunch of HD clamps, titanium tubing, new turbo setup, but it was still kind of battered and bruised. Now she is not battered. Well, she's bruised a little, but not battered anymore. Cleaned up all the paint, steelated the entire chassis. So engine bay, all the doors, the full interior, the full rear firewall, which Kyle did not a good paint job on it for me. Kyle was the driving force of this. It's all Kyle's fault. It's looking fresh. I'm super stoked on it. I was joking with my American buddies, MA Motorsports. I've been following them for years. They've been building gangster stuff since the 2000s. And this is like the Temu. I've been calling myself Temu Wilkerson. It's like the Temu version of what they would do. In terms of like, not really, it's not that Temu, it's pretty MA spec, but I can't just be like, it's MA spec, that's their thing. But there's this East Coast gray, we got the Steelite gray, redid all the fuel lines in the back. We can go back there, I just finished all that up. We have our Nuke Performance swirl pot mounted up. Rain this morning made me some nice little brackets on the razor, so on the razor, on the laser. Rain's laser, the razor. Felty, you can't even tell. So I welded those to the tube, and then now that's pre-runner flex, a little bit of shrink tube on the hose clamp so it doesn't mar up our nice vibrant fuel filters. We got a 100 micron and a 40 micron just for the different stages, so it comes lift pump out into the one filter, fills up the swirl pot. Swirl pot then pressurizes with its big pump, which goes out our dash 10 feed, which goes into our next filter, which then goes into the bulkhead back to the front of the car, comes back, dash 8 return into the swirl pot, and then another side returns back into the fuel tank. So it's just this big old happy family. But it turned out nice. We got the hard lines on, engines in, transmissions in, got to put the drive line on, get the turbo back on. We are jamming hard. Today is Wednesday. Joel, Josiah just left forever. So hopefully they come back next week, Monday Not Josiah. Josiah can stay, but I need Joel. In-house motorsports wiring expert. So I'm going to mount the PDM, mount the ECU, and get everything mounted so that when he comes back on the Monday, Tuesday, we're just running wires, putting in a base map, start it up. I got dyno booked for Thursday in Quebec, Montreal area by my man Sam at Hexatuned. He did Matthew's car, which you guys probably watched the last video of. Like Matthew's car is kind of like, this is like a Temu version of Matt's car as well too. Nice parts, well executed and applied into the chassis in terms of function, reliability, and ease of serviceability are all big things to me. All these fuel lines are easy to get to. I'm probably going to change it out and do the quick clips on the windows that Josiah and the guys did. They're just threaded, inserted in now, but do that, then that way it's just easy to pop out the window. Because once we have the rad and everything in here, it really does start to fill up this area. But I think it's coming together sweet. Let me know what you guys think. I think it looks killer. Other than that, dude, we're jamming. We got our Haltech goodies, our PDM. Probably gonna mount this up on the firewall so you can see it. Got to put the seats in and kind of see, because the seats are pretty tight in the back. So I also don't want to put this behind the seats and then you have to take out the seats every time. And that was pretty much the line routing here. I had to kind of pull the seat in and out a couple times and get it all tucked down, but it fits perfect all underneath the seat. The 90 bulkheads kind of tuck it over and go through our floor access there. Got to tighten up those fuel clamps. Dude, this thing's going to be a full complete car by the weekend. You got anything to add, Jack?
No, I think
You
that's
think it looks cool?
I think it looks cool.
Okay, good. You ready to detail it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got some rubber here.
Am I allowed to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got some rubber
I
there.
didn't know if that was your job or my job. We can tag team.
Apparently somebody was fabricating stuff in the trailer today. Didn't know he did that.